It's Monday, and you know what that means. Another device has slid into the PNIX headquarters, and it's time to take a look at this. I know you saw it in the thumbnail, but let's dig into it and find out what slid into the office today right after this. Hey fam, swati tu concret PNIC here, and it's time to find out what slid in the office today using my trusty box opener. Too bad I don't have a jerry rig everything box opener, but we'll make do with this one. Just arrived today, and I'm excited about it. Of course, we have a bag inside of a bag. But what's inside that bag? Let's take a look. Looks like we got a case and a box. Hey, looky there. Can you tell what it is yet? That's the RG Slide by Anbernic. Now, I have a 17-month-old baby, so the cases are important to me. And again, for about $10 US, nice little Anbernic case, just like I got with my RG35XX Pro. Makes it very nice. I appreciate the little wrist strap, and able to store the cables and the device right here. And I like that they've done contrasting colors, so they're not all just the same color. Now, this is one of the biggest boxes that Anbernic has ever included with a device. And of course, for the slide, they probably are using their first ever sliding mechanism. Oh, that's too bad. It wasn't like this, right? But oh well. So let's take a look around the box. Very simplistic because, again, it was meant to be simple since it is a sliding box. You can see that I chose the black one, but it also comes in white. Let's see if this one has anything more interesting to it. Nope, nothing else. All right, you can tell it really is my first time. So slide it off. There we go. There's my extra memory card. Appreciate that. Of course, all of everyone's favorite things, including a tempered glass screen protector. I appreciate this because it is a unique form factor device, so I'm glad we get the screen protector. Again, for my 17-month-old. You can see why here. There's notches here for back and home, so I appreciate that there's going to be cutouts for that. Let's see what we've got over here. Sure, this is just the USB-C cable, but let's double check. Oh, no, see? I was wrong. I intentionally haven't watched any videos because I wanted to find out for sure myself. So we get USB-A to USB-C as usual, and then we get some thumbstick caps. So we get black and white, depending on personal preference. So I'm glad they throw that in for everybody. All right, what else we got? Ooh, that is a big boy. Ooh, that is gorgeous in my opinion. Thumbstick is a bit small, but again, that's why they give us the thumbstick caps to make it bigger if we want. They are definitely Nintendo Switch style, pivoting from a central stick point rather than the mass like on an Xbox or PlayStation controller. Ooh, this D-pad is nice and relatively quiet. Face button's a little clicky, but not too bad. I've heard definitely much louder than this on other Anbernic devices. And as you can see, this is kind of like the 35XX Pro again, with these shiny buttons that are kind of smooth to the touch, but not too bad. And of course, we have our stacked shoulder buttons here. I think they could have figured out a way to make them more like a PlayStation or Xbox controller, but you know, I'm not going to complain. It feels good there, and when it's open, I can see where that would work as well. Got a intake and outtake. Kind of interesting for the outtake to be down below, but it's all right. I can see that the screen feels a little bit heavier, probably because of this metal, compared to the bottom portion of it, which is funny because you have the battery more than likely back here. So you'd think the battery would be the counterpoint, but the screen does feel a little bit heavier. Now this is a 4.7-inch screen, but it is a 4:3 aspect ratio like old school TVs rather than the 16:9 of newer TVs, which is great for retro games. Even most PlayStation 1 games were designed with 4:3. Even some PS2 games were designed for 4:3. So again, should be more than enough here. So if we take a look on this side, we have our power button and our volume rocker, micro SD card slot, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I'm glad that they haven't started to stop including these like they have with phones. USB-C port, nothing on top other than the shoulder buttons. Again, clicky, but they've made clickier ones before, so I'm glad that Anbernic didn't do that. Now this is running a fork of Android, so it should look pretty good, and you should have access to the Play Store, but again, I don't know, as I haven't gotten my hands on this yet, but we shall find out. You will notice right away, though, that the bezel on the bottom is a little bit larger than on the top, but on the sides, it looks pretty well balanced out. You have, it looks like 2 speaker grill cutouts, so stereo speakers firing at you at all times. It's kind of nice. Language, we'll go with English. Okay. Okay, so we got some settings here. So I won't bore you with the Android settings. So let me go ahead and get that set up and I'll be right back. Date settings, let's see here. All right, got to set that up, it looks like. So I'm in Thailand. So let's change the time zone here. Is there a way outside of the US? Region, there we go. All right, so Thailand. There should only be one. Yep, Bangkok, beautiful. Which is where I live. Okay, use locale default. No, thank you. Because they usually use the 24-hour clock in Thailand, and I prefer the 12-hour clock. So we'll go with that. Beautiful. The system is loading configuration files. Please do not reboot or shut down. And I love that shutdown is capitalized, but reboot is not. You can see all the different form factors that Anbernic has created. They are definitely the kings of formats. So you have the RG34XX to be like a Game Boy Advance original. You can see I've had the Flip, which was the Game Boy Advance SP, and you can see the different devices, like that was the 35XX SP. You can see that's probably the 557, all the way down to their miniature device. So definitely kind of interesting. Again, I love the dual speakers firing at you. And they aren't small little slits like a lot of devices, so hopefully the sound will be really great. And I'm not going to bore you any further, so I'll pause it and I'll come right back. Finishing up, and I wanted to make sure you're back for that. So go in system. There we go. There's our Android with all of its glory. You can see all the various emulators here, like PPSSPP. Now, generally what I would recommend is downloading your own emulators, just because a lot of these could be valid ones. They could be copies of paid ones, but again, you didn't pay for them. And it's best to support the developers for these so they can continue making them. So I appreciate that. Again, RetroArch has its own way of doing things, so I appreciate that. We have Moonlight if you want to play your PC games on this device. And you have Anbernic's new house-built AI that can do things like if you have a Japanese game, it can translate the text for you on the screen. And then we do have our Play Store, so just everything you would need there. Gamepad tester, so they do give you that. That's awesome. So you can bring up the traditional 3 buttons if you want for Android, but as I mentioned, one of these is going to be the back button and one will be the home button. We do have our notification shade here, so we can change the brightness, for example. Might make it easier for the camera to see. Yeah, looks like it does, so that's awesome. So, my first impressions is this looks like a really great device. I'm not going to get into any gameplay on this because I want to test it out a little bit first. I know I usually get into gameplay but I have to load their card, see the quality of it. Some of them are hit or miss. Again, 256, I should be getting some PS1, maybe some PS2 games on there. I'm going to try to change up the emulators to see what we got here and do some proper testing before I get out my short-term review on Friday. Let me know what games you would like to see me test potentially on the review. Sadly, I haven't gotten too many requests in the last few videos, but again, I want to make these videos for you guys, so please let me know what type of games you would like to see. And even if they're not included on this card, I more than likely have the ROM on my computer already, so I would love to go ahead and load that up on the card for you and test it out, because I want you to be able to see what type of experience you can expect on this if you buy it yourself. So this has been the RG Slide from Anbernic, and until next time, this has been P. Nick.